All right. Welcome, welcome. Here we go for today's live. Today, I want to talk about what it really takes to transition from your K award to an R01. And the reason that I want to talk about this today is that this misconception comes up a lot when I am chatting with women who are interested in joining my K to R transition program. So, if you're new to me, let me just quickly introduce myself. I'm Sarah Dobson. I am a research grant consultant and an academic career coach. And one of the things that I do is I run a K to R transition program for women faculty. And this is where this misconception comes up. It's this idea that your focus as you are making that transition from your K award to your R01 needs to be on, okay, what is my R01 level idea and when do I actually need to start writing? So these are the questions that I get from women who are interested in joining the program. And I'm just going to do before we really dive into the material, I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping here. So if you know somebody who ought to see this video, please share it with them. Second, if you have any questions that come up either during the course of this live or later on, if you're watching this on replay, please ask your question in the comments. I'm happy to answer it anytime. And third thing is if you hear anything that really resonates with you, please put that in the comments as well for the benefit of the other audience members, again, whether live or down the line on replay. Okay, so I'm just going to pull up my notes here. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about what it really takes to transition from your K award to R01 funding. Okay, so the questions that I get most often from women faculty who are in this stage, they're kind of midway through their K awards and thinking about writing their first R1. The questions I get most often are, when is the right time for me to start writing my first R1? And the second is, how do I know if I have an R1 caliber idea? And those are great questions, don't get me wrong. But what this tells me is that they believe that the path to success is just about having the right research idea and getting started on the grant writing process early enough in their K award to allow for multiple resubmissions, right? And again, that's not necessarily bad in and of itself, but here's why that's wrong, okay? So if you're only focusing on the grant writing part of things, and obviously, that is vital and necessary to your success. But if you want to make the leap from your K award to R01 funding successfully, you need to think bigger than that, a lot bigger than that. You need to think about how to set up your professional life for success beyond just learning how to write an R01. You need to create a sustainable system for yourself if you want to have a thriving research career. So I'm just going to back up for a second. So one of the other things that I do in my business is we work one-on-one with PIs in a grant review process to help them submit a really clear and competitive application. So we provide recommendations for them on how to improve the competitiveness and the clarity of their applications. And a lot of the PIs who come to me tell me that they had early success with an R01, but now they've hit a slump, right? And when I dig deeper and ask them about their grant writing process, they admit that they tend to binge write at the last minute. They aren't able to get a lot of early feedback on their application, and they're overcommitted. And they also tell me that they have no idea how that first R01 got funded and why none of the others have been successful. So my point here is, yes, for sure, you can write a fundable grant at the last minute with a million other things on your plate, but it is not sustainable, both from a workload perspective and a quality perspective, because binge writing doesn't allow you to do the deep thinking that's required to conceptualize your research project or communicate it clearly with your reviewers, right? You really have to learn how to connect the dots for your reviewers to make it easy for them. And that is extremely hard to do when you are writing at the last minute. I also want to point out here that a lot of early career folks see their more senior colleagues doing this successfully, right? Successfully putting together a grant at the last minute, and either they're advised to do that as well, or they just sort of observe it working for other people. But I want to remind you that you're not in the same position early in your career. You're just getting things off the ground, right? You don't have a library of previous grants to pull from that you can prepare something that you can use to prepare something at the last minute. You also don't have as strong a command of your program of research because you're just building it, right? So I completely understand that frustration of being told by or seeing other more senior people be successful with some, I mean, let's face it, some pretty bad habits, right? But remember, you're not in the same boat. Okay. So here's what's missing from the thought process of a lot of early career researchers. What is the impact I want to make with my research? What are the big scientific challenges I'm committed to tackling? And how can I design my day to day professional life to allow me to focus on making the impact I want to make with my research? Okay, that part needs to come first because it gives you a strategy for making decisions about how you ought to spend your time. And the earlier in your career you can do this, the more sustainable and fulfilling and enjoyable career you'll be able to create for yourself. And it's from that place that you can really make an impact with your research because you will have created that time and the space and the capacity to think deeply about your research, to plan and conceptualize appropriately, and to truly connect those dots for your reviewers so that they can see clearly what you're trying to accomplish. And this is exactly what we start with in my K to R transition program for women faculty. The first phase of the program is all about defining these big scientific, clinical, or population level challenges that you're committed to solving, and then establishing your priorities, your goals, and your professional habits so that you can stay on track. Only after we do that do we start getting into the specifics of writing your first R01 because you're starting from a strong foundation, right? It's going to be so much easier to build those strategies and plans you need to execute the grant writing project and the research project itself. And it will also be easier to actually write the grant because you'll have a much clearer sense of where you're headed and you will have protected that time in your schedule to be able to do it. Okay. So if you found this video helpful and you're looking for some support as you make the leap from your K award to your first R1, I run a K to R transition program for women faculty that can help you make that leap successfully. So if you're interested in learning more about the program, I invite you to book a call with me. There's a link in the video description where you can go to an application page. And once you fill out that application page, you'll be able to book a call with me where we can talk about your specific situation and develop a plan for you. So thanks a lot. I look forward to meeting you.